From the radio service of Kear Communications Network Incorporated, good evening. Welcome to Kear News Line of 45 minutes of all of the latest happenings in Liberia and other parts of the world. Today is Tuesday, March 4, 2025. My name is Aloysius Chea with this presentation. In our top stories, former chairman of the Congress for Democratic Change, Mobile Model Times Majority Bloc Speaker Richard Cohen's promise of US $20 million for the 2026 budget to support the GFK as a blatant and dishonest attempt to gain legitimacy during a crisis orchestrated by President Joseph Boakai. Grand Bassa County District 4 Representative Afra Flomo strongly condemns the ongoing debate surrounding same-sex marriage within the United Methodist Church, says such unions threaten the cultural fabrics of the nation. A shocking revelation shows LBX Director General Eugene Falcon's alleged promise of a concrete house in exchange for Momo David's false testimony. Bedon David, a resident of Congo Town Backwell, confirms. And away from Liberia, a UN Children's Agency report shows armed men raping and sexually assaulting children as young as one during Sudan's civil war. The details of these plus other developments, inclusive of the news bulletin, voices of the newsmakers post or package, please keep tuned. Many thanks for joining us. Mariama and Jalloh set the pace with the full bulletin of news from the news center. Good evening, Mariama.
Good evening, Aloysius, and good evening, Liberia. The former chairman of the Congress for Democratic Change, Moba Malu, has termed the majority bloc Speaker Richard Cohen's promise of US $20 million for the 2026 budget to support JFK Medical Hospital as a blatant and dishonest attempt to assign legitimacy during a crisis over orchestrated by President Joseph Walker. The former CDC chairman, Wilbur Mulu, asserted that Richard's Cohen pledge of US $20 million in the 2026 budget for JFK Medical Center is not as a result of being a leader, noting that such is an attempt to buy legitimacy amidst a national crisis. According to the social media post, Malu maintained that such a plan is tricky and an unacceptable promise to the John F. Kennedy Medical Hospital. He claimed that it is about time for Liberians not to be deceived, noting that he is not the legitimate speaker. According to him, Liberia's healthcare system is indeed in critical condition, but will not be saved by political bribes dressed as goodwill. He added that the leadership is deception and legitimacy cannot be bought. Grand Bassa County District 4 Representative Alfred Flomo has strongly condemned the ongoing debate surrounding same-sex marriage within the United Methodist Church. Speaking to reporters at the grounds of the Capitol, the lawmaker expressed his disapproval in a recent statement criticizing the church leadership for proposing the inclusion of same-sex marriages. In his remarks, Representative Flomo asserted that the House of Representatives would not tolerate any discussion or actions regarding homosexuality or lesbianism. He emphasized that such topics do not align with the core values and traditions of Liberia, asserting that any attempt to advance or normalize these practices would face vehement opposition from lawmakers. According to him, same sex marriage is incompatible with the societal norms and values of Liberia. The controversy within the United Methodist Church has ignited a national debate, drawing both support and opposition. The lawmaker also underscored the importance of protecting the scrutiny of marriage as understood within Liberia's societal and religious context, highlighting the need for unity in preserving the country's values. Representative Flomo also pledged to continue advocating for traditional values, calling on the public to remain vigilant and united in their stance against same sex marriage. In an effort to ensure justice, the Liberian government has disclosed plans to review cases of mysterious deaths aimed at bringing culprits face the weight of the law. To implement this effort, the government said it has mandated the Justice Ministry to act swiftly and ensure that the prosecution starts immediately. Making the disclosure at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing in Monrovia, Minister Jeremy McPeer asserted that the decision of the government is aimed at prosecuting the perpetrators of those crimes. He named the deaths of auditors Princess Cooper, three missing boys, among others, as cases set to be reviewed. Liberia's Information Minister Jeremy McPeer further called on citizens to assist the government in providing essential information. Meanwhile, Minister Pia has cautioned Liberians to assert efforts in attracting foreign direct investments, noting that it requires a joint effort. Information Minister Pia added that it is time for Liberians to stay away from acts of violence, adding that such action keep away investors from the country. A 58-year-old man identified as Joseph Kilemi has in Kakata City, Margibi County. The deceased, who is a local businessman and the Secretary General of the Usher Department at the Free Pentecostal Church in Kakata, was discovered dead with bruises and cuts on his body. According to eyewitnesses, the cause of death is yet to be established as police promptly investigate what led to his death. The deceased is a resident of the area and had been trading for over several periods prior to his demise. Family sources have confirmed that the death of Joseph Kimberly is a serious setback to the family. The Environmental Protection Agency of Liberia has launched the 8th training session on environmental and social impact assessment licensure. The session was held under the theme Promoting Environmental Sustainability and Social Equality in Development Projects, Programs, and Policies. During the launch of the 10-day training, Dr. Emmanuel Ure Yakpaulo stated that Section 10.2 of the Environmental Protection and Management Law of Liberia mandates that the EPA to maintain a registry of the names and qualification of approved consultants authorized to prepare environmental and social impact studies. Dr. Ure noted that in accordance with the legal provisions, the EPA has conducted approximately 7 essay licensure training for independent evaluators over the years. The executive director of the EPA also emphasized the importance of environmental and social impact assessments, adding that it is constructing houses, factories, roads, among others. Meanwhile, Deputy Executive Director of the EPA, Dual Brawley, expressed that the agency is facing pressing capacity and logistical challenges. He also highlighted the urgent need for constructive engagement and collaboration within the Union of Certified Environmental Professionals of Liberia, among others. In a historic move, thanking a significant step for Liberia's energy future, Vice President Jeremiah Cohen will arrive in Washington, D.C. on March 5, 2025 to participate in the 10th edition of the Powering Africa Summit. Scheduled for March 6 to 7, the summit serves as a premier platform to drive U.S. Africa energy partnership, gathering leaders, investors, and industry experts to discuss and foster collaboration to meet Africa's growing energy needs. As Liberia's vice president and chairman of the high level steering committee on the country's energy crisis, Vice President Kun will address international audience, underscoring Liberia's urgent need for affordable and reliable energy in alignment with the government's Rest agenda for inclusive development. In his address, Vice President Kun will also reaffirm Liberia's commitment to creating an investment friendly environment, inviting US businesses and investors to explore opportunities within the energy sector. In addition to his keynote speech, Vice President Kun will engage with senior U.S. officials, including Ambassador Tori Thartel, the senior bureau official for African Affairs at the U.S. Department of State, and Representative Aaron Umar of the U.S. House of Representatives. These high level engagements are expected to strengthen the dialogue on energy cooperation, economic development, and regional security, further positioning Liberia as a key player in the African energy landscape. Following the summit, Vice President Kun will travel to Pennsylvania for a town hall meeting with the Liberian diaspora, a vital step in ensuring that the global Liberian community remain an integral part of the national development. The president of the Engineering Society of Liberia, Engineer David Wunwa, has announced the launch of an engineering licensing regime in Liberia, calling it a critical initiative under his leadership. Speaking at the World Engineering Day celebration held at Stella Maris Polytechnic University in Monrovia on Tuesday, Engineer Wunwa emphasized that the licensing program will ensure all practicing engineers meet globally recognized professional standards. He highlighted that the initiative will enhance public confidence in the engineering profession while ensuring the highest level of technical competence. The event held under the theme Shaping a Sustainable Future Through Engineering in Liberia brought together professional and student engineers from various universities and high schools across the country. Engineer Wunwa explained that the licensing framework will be reinforced by the introduction of professional examination, a key measure aimed at assessing and certifying engineering proficiency across various disciplines. The government of Liberia, through the Electricity Corporation, has successfully signed a power purchase agreement for 2025 through 2027 at the headquarters of the CI engineers in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. In remarks, the interim managing director Thomas Goncowan extolled the management of both CIE and CI Energy for their unflinching support to the energy sector. He acknowledged the series of discussions held with two institutions and highlighted the agreement by Supply Liberia Energy even before all the legal arrangements. CIE and CI Energies has shown a sign of brotherhood and that of African solidarity. LEC power purchase agreement with CI Energies and CIE remains a commercial agreement for the purchases and supply of electricity, which has over the years provided capacity for LEC to meet its energy demand through the newly signed PPA LEC contract supplying 50 megawatts of electricity from its Ivorian counterparts. The executive director of the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, Jackson Pay, has officially announced the immediate implementation of Executive Order 144. This order reinforces the government's commitment to integrating former refugees and expanding access to social services and safety nets to vulnerable populations. Executive Order 144 replaces Executive Order 108, which was signed by former President George Weah in 2022 but has since expired. noting that the new order aligns with Liberia's international obligation under the 1951 Refugee Convention and its 1967 protocol. The plenary of the House of Representatives has called for the replacement of the National Road Fund, the Ministry of Justice, the Liberia Revenue Authority, and the petroleum importers who owe the government of Liberia. The purpose of the summons is to demand the petroleum importers and others to explain their refusal to pay outstanding debts totaling to US 15 million to the government of Liberia. As of December 30, 2024, areas owed by the petroleum importers include Conex 4.6 million, Srimex 3.7 million, LPRC 5.83 million, Aminata and Sons 559.995, Petro Trade 575,000. Representative Ernest Mensah of Nimba County, District 4, introduced the motion on behalf of the members of the House of Representatives. However, Representative Musa Belati's Srimex is among the list of delinquent debtors. That's the shift of the news bulletin, and it's now back to you, Aloysius Chea, for continuation.
Mariama and Jalloh in the news bulletin on the program. One of the regular features on here Newsline. Straight into the news. Grand Bassa County District 4 Representative Afro Flomo has strongly condemned the ongoing debate surrounding same-sex marriage within the United Methodist Church. Speaking to reporters at the grounds of the Capitol, the lawmaker expressed his disapproval in a recent statement leadership for proposing the inclusion of same-sex marriages. In his remarks, Representative Flomo asserted that the House of Representatives will not tolerate any discussions or actions regarding homosexuality or lesbianism. Grand County District 4 Representative Alfred Flomo speaking to reporters. In an effort to ensure justice, the Liberian government has disclosed plans to review cases of mysterious deaths aimed at bringing corporate to face the full weight of the law. To implement this effort, the government said it has mandated the Ministry of Justice to act swiftly and ensure that the prosecution starts immediately. making the disclosure at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing in Monrovia. Minister Jalloh Kear asserted that the decision of the government is aimed at prosecuting the perpetrators of those crimes. Meanwhile, Minister Pia has cautioned Liberians to exert efforts in attracting foreign direct investments, noting that it requires a joint effort. Liberia's Information Minister Jalloh Pia spoke at a mega press briefing. The Ministry of National Defense has broken ground for the construction of a mental health wellness center valued at 300,000 United States dollars at a 14 military hospital in Shefflin, Magibi County. Speaking during a groundbreaking ceremony on Tuesday, National Defense Minister, retired Brigadier General Jordan George, said the construction of a mental health wellness center for soldiers of the Armed Forces of Liberia is the first of its kind in Liberia's history. She is retired Brigadier General Jordan George speaking. For his part, the major advisor to the president, retired Major General Daniel Zianka, who performed the groundbreaking ceremony on behalf of the president commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, described the ceremony as a milestone in the commitment of the government for men and women serving in the military. Military advisor to the president, retired Major General Daniel Ziankar. Meanwhile, the permanent representative of ECOWAS to Liberia, Ambassador Josephine Kuman, commended the high command of the armed forces of Liberia for courageously taking on the venture of constructing a mental health wellness center for its soldiers. Ambassador Josephine Kuman, ECOWAS representative to Liberia. If you have just joined us, you're listening to the 6 p.m. edition of Kear Newsline for the 5 minutes of presentation of happiness in Liberia and other parts of the world. Today is Tuesday, March 4, 2025, and these are our top stories. Former chairman of the Congress for Democratic Change, Moba Malu, terms Majority Bloc Speaker Rachel Coons' promise of US 20 million for the 2026 budget to support GFK as a blatant and dishonest attempt to gain legitimacy during a crisis orchestrated by President Buhari. Grand County District 4 Representative Alfred Flomo strongly condemns the ongoing debate surrounding same-sex marriage within the United Methodist Church, says such years threaten the cultural fabric of the nation. A shocking revelation shows OBS Director General Eugene Falcon's alleged promise of a concrete house in exchange for Mobile Davis' false testimony. Benon Kamara, a resident of the Congo Town Backward, confirms. In foreign news, a UN Children's Agency report shows armed men raping and sexually assaulting children as young as 1 year during Sudan's civil war. We take a break to be back with sports and more developments. Welcome back. Fatmata Barriers Nest with sports. Good evening, Fatmata.
Good evening, Aloysius. Good evening, Liberia. The Liberia Football Association Second Division League returns to outstanding match day 19. The LFA leagues are gearing closer towards the end as second division plays outstanding March Day 19. League runners Aloysius FC expanded their lead atop of the table with a 3-2 win away to Philadelphia Lone Star. They are now with 56 points in 23 matches. Downtown FC remains third in the table after a 2-all draw away to Pax FC. District 17 comfortably defeated Nimba Quado 3-1 at the Doris Williams in Grand Bassa County. Samira massively defeated Mighty Enforcers 8-0 at the Nancy Bido Stadium. The Enforcers remains with 9 points in 23 matches this season and are still rock bottom of the league table. Gompa SC narrowly edged out MP Anchors 3-2 at the SKD practice pitch in Pinsdale. Gompa has now moved up to 8th place in the league table with 32 points in the league.
ensuring social protection and stability, particularly for former Ivorian refugees who chose to remain in Liberia following the implementation of the cessation clause in June 2022. During the press conference, Kear called on stakeholders to help disseminate information about the Executive Order 144 and its significance for the government, the refugee community, and other persons of concern residing in Liberia. The executive director of the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, Jackson Pay. The Environmental Protection Agency of Liberia has launched the 8th training section on environmental and social impact assessment messenger. During the launch of the 10th day training, Dr. Emmanuel Yue Yakwawodo stated that Section 10.2 of the Environmental Protection and Management Law of Liberia mandates the EPA to maintain a registry of the names and qualifications of approved consultants authorized to prepare environmental and social impact studies. Emmanuel Yue Yakwawodo, the speaking at the launch of the 10-day training of the Environmental Protection Agency. The president of the Engineering Society of Liberia, Engineer David Wonwa, has announced the launch of an engineering lessoning regime in Liberia to coordinate a critical initiative under his leadership. Speaking at the World Engineering Day celebration held at St. Mary's Polytechnic University in Monrovia on Tuesday, Engineering Wonwa emphasized that the lessoning program will ensure all practicing engineers meet globally recognized professional standards. We sincerely apologize for that. The National Elections Commission has released an update on its preparation for the conduct of the senatorial by-election in Nima County. The commissioner with oversight on Nima County, Basi Pingba, disclosed that so far 5 persons, including 2 independent candidates, have picked documents purposely to process their candidacy for the elections. Addressing a press conference held in Monrovia on Tuesday, Commissioner Pingba disclosed that the commission has completed almost all of the terms of securing the budget for the conduct of the by-elections in Nima County. Commissioner Mbasi Nimba Pingba with oversight on Nimba County speaking at the NDC press conference. All men are raping and sexually assaulting children as young as one during Sudan's civil war, says the UN Children's Agency. Mass sexual violence has been widely documented as a weapon of war in the country's nearly 2 year conflict. But UNICEF's report is the first detailed account about the impact of rape on young children in Sudan. Well, listeners, on that note, we want on the curtains on this Tuesday's edition of Kear Newsline at 6 p.m. Before we go, the reminder of the top stories. The former chairman of the Congress of Democratic Change, Moba Molu, times Majority Bloc Speaker Richard Cohen's promise of US 20 million to GFK for support as a blatant and dishonest attempt to gain legitimacy during a crisis orchestrated by President Joseph Boakai. Grand Bassa County District 4 Representative Afra Flomo strongly condemns the ongoing debate surrounding same-sex marriage within the United Methodist Church, says such unions threaten the cultural fabrics of the nation. A shocking revelation shows LBS Director General Eugene Falcon's alleged promise of a concrete house in exchange for Momo Davis' false testimony. Benno Kamara, resident of Congotown Backroad, confirms. In foreign news, raping and sexually assaulting children as young as 1 year during Sudan's civil war. The details of these plus other developments will board you on this edition of the program. Many thanks to all of you for playing your usual listening role. Many thanks to Mariama and Jalloh who read for us the news bulletin from the news center. Fatimata Barry read for us sports. Rufus Brooks set up control and produced the sound. Judge Ware handles the visual aspect of this presentation. On behalf of the news team, I'm Aloysius Chea, I presented. Good night.